Hello
Okay.
and welcome to Series 3 of the Sheroes Collective Podcast. I'm your host, Renee Sparks, and in this series, we meet women authors. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our Shero for episode 1 of the series, Jacqueline Maart. She's an author and poet, so Jacqueline is the mom of 2 and a wife. She has recently launched her book, Seeking Grace, on the 28th of January this year. She loves writing and is into poetry and romance novels. She's a fierce, God-fearing woman and has published in a collective poetry collection called Lekker Poems. All this while being a full-time working woman, an entrepreneur, and also being a member of Poets Funny Cup. So it goes without doubt saying, here's another Shero, right? Within this book, she seeks to share a story and inspire and uplift others going through similar situations. So she'll unpack all of that for us. She's currently writing her second book, and so we'll get to know a little bit more about that as we go along. But Jackie, welcome to the Sheroes Collective Podcast, and thank you so much for taking the time to have this discussion.
Thank you to you, Renee, and thank you for allowing me to be on the platform for Sheroes.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to kick off. And like I said, it's a conversation. So I'll start off with, I think, one of the obvious things, like what inspired you to write and publish this book, Seeking Grace?
I think it was my journey from a young age already. It was always my passion to write. And as life had it, I was inspired by my own story. And I wanted my message to be brought across to those women that don't have a voice, to be able to connect with my story. It's an inspiring story. It is a roller coaster, I would say. There's happy moments, there's sad moments, but ultimately it's only the grace of God that brought me to where I am today. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So tell us why the type of book that you've written, because it sounds a bit like it's sharing of your own life, so a bit of a memoir, but also a bit of a inspirational, uplifting book in the sense. So what made you decide on that?
It's like a recipe book, I would say, because it's my upbringing, the life that I had with the love of my life at the time, abuse, where it led me to be at this current point in time. So it's a recipe book, I would say, with a little bit of all my life experiences. And in that one particular book, you will find everything about me, basically, up until the point where my new journey started.
Okay. Tell me, how difficult was it to write such personal things? How long did it take for you to get to this point?
So in general, it took me about a year to write the book. But it took me years to actually get to this point. I started as a young girl writing the book and rewriting the book and rewriting, but I never got to a point. But initially in 2022, that is when I met another author, and she motivated me in starting to writing the book. And I actually finished in January of last year with the book. But ultimately, it was quite a journey, and I had to go back into time. And I can tell you this, writing a book is not easy, but it's a real, it can be exciting, it can take you through trauma experiences again. But for me, ultimately, it was just a very nice experience.
No, that's good to know. I'm glad you're saying that, because some people would think, you know what, I just sit down and I write. But I mean, when you're speaking about really deeply personal things, I mean, when we speak about abuse, we speak about maybe the darker sides of ourselves or things that we haven't really shared with people. That's quite emotive. And it's quite daunting, because at some point it's like having a mirror shown to yourself, and now you're sharing this with everyone else. So I mean, that's quite brave. So I also want to say thank you to the woman that inspired you and motivated you to continue. And that's amazing that it's been another woman that's done that. very often we don't really pay attention to those support structures. And so I think even through Sheroes Collective, this is one of the things that we are trying to build, is this network of women that can showcase not only support for others, but uplifting of others. So yes, we are amplifying voices through what we do. So this is incredible. So how you just said now it's taken you a year. Was it easy for you to find a publisher? Did you have to go back and make changes to what you wanted to share as opposed to what they thought would be interesting?
That's a good question. I met my publisher. It's very funny because I went on a network with a lady that inspired me, the author that inspired me. I went on a network to another publishing expo, I would say, right? And while we were there, we were just browsing to see who we can actually chat to, that is publishers and authors. And I met this wonderful lady, Ms. Geraldine Sienda. She's also a God-fearing woman, and her publication is called Sofa Books. It was previously known as Chienda Publications, and now it's changed to Sofa Books. And I met her, and she invited me to the poetry sessions at Poets Honeycup. And I took it in my stride, and I went for the first session, and I loved it. And we got to talk, and the rest is history, as I say it. So that is where we're at.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your poetry, you've published that before the books situation, right? So you've always kind of been into poetry and have had that published by the sound of it.
Yes. Oh, that is correct. So literature, like I said, literature was always my passion, and poems speak deep within me because it speaks to my emotions, how I feel at that point in time, situations that placed me in my journey, and also my community is also part of my material, I would say. So yes, definitely poetry.
That's fantastic. So you've had the opportunity to take what you've already journeyed with, as I wouldn't say as a coping skill, because you're saying it's a passion. It's one way of your soul kind of breathing by writing. But you've taken it, you've been able to take that and harness emotions and share those emotions through poetry, and then come back and decide to write this book. So I think, what I understand about writing poetry, because I'm also very, very new in that space, is that it actually allows us also to process. So you're speaking about really painful experiences, and I think probably one of the things that has helped you through the process is poetry. And I think people don't think writing is kind of a good thing. So some people, I've also recently, I will say recently, even though it was like 2019, because that for me feels like it's the other day, also started learning about reflective writing and thinking about putting things down when you're feeling it. So yeah, it's a great tip. Also then, when you're writing a book, do you kind of find yourself sitting and writing chapters on end? Or do you have some other tip there for people who are thinking about writing a book? I'm thinking about the times that I studied, I ended up buying a whiteboard. And so whenever I walked past the whiteboard, I would write something, but that was related to my studies and my assignments or something. So I'm trying to figure out, when you're writing a book, is it something like that? Do you make, when you watch a movie, you see someone taking a cell phone and making notes quickly about something that's popping in their head, or is that all just pie in the sky? There's some other formula?
So actually, no, it isn't. So with me, because I am a busy woman, entrepreneur, everything in one, I try to make some time for writing. So in the morning hour would be my ideal time. Very early in the morning, like say after 6 or so, that would have been my ideal time, even now. And then in my free time, I would sit on my phone and I will jot down things that I remember and everything, whether it's a book near me or something, just so that I cannot forget what I remembered, and it might be significant for the reader itself. So yes, definitely, morning time would have been my inspirational time, but any other time that I might get free, I would use.
Okay, so there's some truth in that. Because I know people will say, oh, I went for a walk or I went for a run, I was in nature, and all of a sudden this chapter came to me. So, so I suppose so. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so there you have it. There are truth in some of that. Use the tools out there for you, whether it's on your cell phone, making those notes, and make time. I think this is not the first time I hear that, is that you have to take the time to write. And
Yes.
the habit of that, because I think that's kind of where a lot of people go away with. Life happens to us all, so you maybe decide today you're writing, and then tomorrow everything else happens, and in a month's time you find you've done nothing. So that's a really good tip as well.
Definitely.
Fantastic. So tell me, how can people access your book? How do we go
At the
about it?
moment, they can purchase through me. I can give you my contact detail. They can purchase through me. I am in a marketing strategy at the moment with my publisher. As soon as I have more detail, I will be able to provide that.
Okay, fantastic. So at the end of this entire podcast and discussion, we will share all of the information around how to access that. And as we go along, we can obviously update that on the social media pages as we go. There was one thing I still wanted to ask you with regards to, when you ask people to read through your work, did you find yourself asked, did you trust friends or family to be that sounding board, or did you just look for a professional?
No, I actually did better. I asked friends and I asked family. And criticism is the one thing that you tend to have that makes you nervous because you don't know what to expect, what they would say about your book, and judgment also, right? But because I accepted my past and I loved the storyline where it went and the journey that I took my readers on. That definitely I used my friends and family, and even my editor. She read the story. So yes, so definitely.
That is something you're highlighting. I mean, it's a human thing, right? We all don't want to be criticized. So, I mean, so to anybody writing out there, you need to bear your soul with you. You're going to have to find those you trust and kind of detach yourself, I'm sure, of the critique. So when they're saying something, you need to go back and go, okay, I'm not going to take it personally. I'm going to see how else I can deal with this. Or maybe even at the crossroads where you're saying, but this is my truth in this particular story. And someone says, no, but it doesn't sound, like this. So I think it's having that ability to, yes, take the criticism, but then also turn it into something positive and work with that. So I think that's what I'm hearing from you. The other thing that's standing out to me while you're speaking is I've done this exercise, and I'm sure many people have done it before, where you kind of draw a river or you draw a pathway and you showcase your life on this pathway. And so when you're speaking about seeking grace, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing you telling us about these things on the darker side, or the side where the sun isn't shining, to creating a bridge to where something is now working out better. This is what your book sounds like to me. It's like this. And so when I look at it through this lens, I now see it as an opportunity rather than this gray cloud that was over it in the beginning. Is that something?
Yes. Yes, that's definitely it, Renee.
Okay.
So I'm very excited for my readers on my second book, I must say, because my journey, my second book is much lighter and it has a silver lining. So yes, they need to watch it.
So the second book, is it like kind of the same theme? It's your life, or what else?
It's a continuation of yes, definitely.
Fantastic.
Of my life.
Look at that. So can you believe it? You have launched a book in January and you're already speaking about the next one that's coming. So that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yes.
So that, and definitely, we definitely need to find copies of your book to make sure that we are not only supporting you, but also reading and learning from your sharing. Do you have...
That's the one thing I want to do.
No, go for it.
That is the one thing I want to do. That is, I want to inspire people and I want my story to be out there. And if it can touch only one person and help them, then I've done and I've accomplished my goal. So yes, that is definitely my goal.
That's fantastic. I'm sure you will reach more than one person, but there you go. I know what you mean by that concept. if there is any advice that you'd like to leave with anybody that's writing and thinking about publishing, what would that be?
So my advice to anyone that has a dream and a passion is to never give up. Stay within your reach and in your goal, right? Never give up. Pick yourself up. If you fall, and pick yourself up. There's nothing, no saying that it's impossible. Anything is possible. I've learned it from experience. And the one thing that helped me was my faith. From the dark hole where I was, I thought that my life has ended. Never have I foreseen that I would have the silver lining for today. So never give up on your dreams. That is the one thing I can give advice for. Go for what you believe in.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. The other thing that I heard you saying earlier was network. So find yourselves among these women that will also lift you onto their shoulders. And I'm sure you are one of those women that will do that for someone else in the future as well.
Yes,
so
definitely.
I think this is the whole point of the Sheroes Collective. There are great women like yourselves out there doing incredible work, taking the learnings of your own life and sharing it. That is very brave. So I commend you for that. I mean, it's not everyone could be doing that type of level of work on themselves. And I know we are all trying to better ourselves and find ourselves and be our true authentic selves. And I think it's beautiful that you're doing that and speaking about it from a perspective of you believe in God, you believe in this higher power that is keeping you and that has brought you here. And that's fantastic. And so for everyone, that could look different, but it's about tapping into that. And I think you've said it beautifully, is don't lose faith. Be present, be accountable, and be part of the process. So yeah, you've left us with really, really amazing tips there. And we look forward to not only feeling your book, but actually reading your book. So that is something that I definitely will do. It's my homework.
Thank you.
Anyone else listening to do exactly the same thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If I can just ask one more thing, to anyone out there, this is the platform where I can do it because it's a marketing strategy. But for anyone out there that loves poetry, you are more than welcome to contact me to join Poets Honey Cup. We are a big bunch of family that is just smooshing and love poetry, and we share. So if that is your passion, you are welcome to contact me, and I will gladly give you the contact details and where we normally get together.
That's fantastic. The one thing I wanted to ask, do you ever engage with storytellers? Because we spoke about poetry, we're speaking about books, but any storytelling groups that you part of?
Yes, storytelling, yes. Many of the Poets Honey Cup members are storytellers, and even my publisher, she is an award-winning author and storyteller. She has many awards, I think about 8 or 9. Yes, so definitely, yeah.
Okay, so you talking about Funny Cup. I think earlier you had shared with me some of the books that you have helped write poetry in. Do you want to maybe showcase some of them at the moment? Then we can at least see what.
So I am part of 2 lekker poems, which is volume 3 and volume 4. So this is volume 3.
Okay.
It's a collaborative poetry book. All members, Poets Honey Cup, and this is the Christmas edition for 2023, volume 4, which I was also a part of, and there is more to come.
Okay, so tell me something. These poetry books, are they in Afrikaans? Are the poems in Afrikaans only?
It is various languages.
Okay.
There's no specific language, and it can be found in our local libraries.
Oh, fantastic! But also we could purchase them elsewhere.
Yes. Yes,
okay, so
you can purchase it through me, and I will give you the contact details for Shofa as well.
Okay, fantastic. So there we have it. We've got 3 books that we need to look out for, which is the poetry books as well as your own book. And then you've got one coming up on the horizon. So we've got our homework cut out for us. And I love the fact that you're willing to share your poetry groups and your storytelling groups, because these are spaces where we need to find this is where we can actually have our soul breathing as well and share.
Yes.
Also been
And share, definitely.
storytellers
Yes.
who were incredible, life-changing moments when you listen to how these women share. And you would never have thought about it even up until the time that you meet someone who's a storyteller and uses music and to kind of showcase that. So thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Renee, for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very glad we got to meet you and learn about your book and about everything else that's coming. So everything of the best, and we look forward to seeing that second book. Thank you very much for listening to the Sheroes Collective Podcast, and that was Jacqueline Maart, our first guest for Series 3, Women Authors.